1 Samuel 16:1-7 KJV. And the Lord said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul? Seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel, fill thine horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons.
Unacceptable is an abomination unto me. So half-hearted obedience to God's commandment is an abomination. That's why we are talking about this night, about walking away from all.
And Samuel said, How can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, Take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice. And I will shew thee what thou shalt do, and thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee.
As in obeying his commandments, which obedience is better than sacrifice. Look at what he now said. And to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as
And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, Comest thou peaceably? And he said, Peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice.
You know, I've always told people, you want to have the best of life. You want to have a sweet life. You want to have a fulfilled life. Obey God's commandments.
And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab, and said, Surely the Lord's anointed is before him.
Your life will not be excellent. If you fail to go by those guidelines, your lives will not be fulfilled. So, if peradventure you are opportune to enter into fulfilling all the guidelines.
But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart.
That means you are holy. Anyone that obeys the commandments of God is regarded as living a holy life. Nothing contrary can work against that individual. Let me give you for instance. God says don't associate with some people. Don't interact with some people. These people's lifestyle will taint your life. You say, no,
God's antecedents of raising people from zero to hero remains the same, and specializes in lifting those from the dunghill into the palaces of princes of their people.
Some of them have been into one kind of fraternity or the other. Eventually, they might drag you into the same thing, either into drugs, into fraternity, which becomes an abomination against God. So, those things, wouldn't it be better for you to walk away from somebody who is a drug addict than for you to go and join in drug addiction? I was opportune to meet somebody I had known for a long time, somewhere on the road, who had been into drugs. I had known him for a long time. His life had gone southwards because of drugs. You could not even recognize him. He was even looking like an 80-year-old man because of drugs. And eventually, if he's not delivered, because only God will deliver when you enter into some things. When you enter into the wrong associations, only God can. Except God delivers you, you might never be delivered. So,
as in the above scriptures, the one that was discountenanced as being of no consequence was the only anointed one of God, sidling the well-built favorite, well-positioned by human standard.
The one I actually want to read for you today, which is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 8, to let you know that the things that are happening today about deception and lies that are taking place has taken a high level of sophisticated.
1 Samuel 16:10-13 KJV. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel, And Samuel said unto Jesse, The Lord hath not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep.
So that you don't walk into deceptions, which are traps from the dominion of darkness.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent, and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and with all of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he.
Into high gear of level sophistication to derail a lot of people. You know, Christians say they are evangelizing. Yes, they do. But those on the other side too are working 24/7, evangelizing, trying to win people as much as possible to their side, derailing people from the kingdom of light into kingdom of darkness. They are working 24/7. They are even working more than Christians. Except your eyes of understanding is open, you also and me could easily fall into the level of sophistication.
Then Samuel took the horn of oil, and anointed him in the midst of his brethren, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up, and went to Ramah. When your time comes, your family, your institution, and even your nation will wait for you and on you.
They display their open sacrifices and things. They are not even hiding anything anymore, and they are even upgraded up the ante in their operations. So let me read the book of.
To the amazement of your adversaries, who will also stand in awe of you, simply because you are the anointed and chosen one of God. May that kind of God's favor find you out today.
Son of man, lift up thy eyes now the way towards the north. So I lifted up my eyes the way towards the north, and behold, northwards at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy.
In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Enjoy your presence in his presence. EOD.
Image of, Bible says that God is a jealous God. And he also says that you must not have any other God beside him. So any other thing that you have and you worship and you pay allegiance to, you pay homage to, you worship, you spend so much of your time, becomes an abomination to God. God becomes jealous. And I always tell people, when God was putting you in your mother's womb, were these things there? Were these demons? Were these devils? Were they there? Were these gods? Were they there? But somewhere along the line, along the road, they hijack people onto their side, away from God, and people begin to follow them sheepishly. Look at verse 6. He said, Furthermore unto me, Son of man, seest thou what they do? See what they are doing in their hidden secret places. I told you, some of these so-called big, luscious places, if you know the kind of things that are taking place in those places, you will shudder. We cannot speak too much, but let me just use as much wisdom to get this message across to you. He said, see what they are doing, see thou what they do, even the great abominations that the house of Israel committed here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary. Did you hear that? They want to put God off completely from his sanctuary by doing things that are distasteful to him in his own sanctuary himself, inside the sanctuary of God. Let me keep on. But turn thee ye again, and thou shalt see greater abominations. Let me continue before I come back to speak on this. And he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now into the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in and behold the wicked abomination that they do here. Go and see. See, except God open your eyes. There was a man somewhere along the line, one so-called, politician, somewhere. I try to be discreet. Was found bathing with human blood. To sustain himself in power in his own house. Who discovered it? It was his wife. See the kind of abomination God is talking about here? It was then, it's still happening today. And it's even happening more and more. Now, look at it. He said, Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold a door. And he said unto me, Go in and behold the wicked abomination that they do here. Hey, my brethren, if you are not picking anything from this evening's message, pick one thing. Be wary of association. Who are your friends? Who are your buddies? Who are you associating with? Where are they going to lead you to? Be wary. It is extremely important. Some of these things, and I always tell people, you can only vouch for yourself. You can't vouch for the second person because you don't know what they are doing to sustain themselves. And if you don't know, then you'll be very, very, very careful. Now, look at what he said. And he said unto me, Go in and behold the wicked abomination that they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things and abominable things, abominable beasts, and all the idols of the house of Israel, portrayed upon the wall round about. Abominable beast. Kai. Oh God, Lord Almighty. You know, even these days, people are getting married to animals. I'm sure you must have seen women getting married to animals and all kinds of things. That's another form of abomination. Now, these people are worshipping and giving adoration to beasts. When you talk of beasts, look at it. Please, I'm going somewhere. Just follow me. Verse 11. And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. And in the midst of them stood Jeremiah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand. And a thick cloud of incense went up. Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? A lot of people, when all these people of these dark operations they meet mostly in the dark. So they believe that people are not seeing them. But they have forgotten that there is one that sees everything. Even in the dark, he sees better than in the day. So, as good as he sees in the day. So nothing is hidden. And the Bible also says that there's nothing any man will do in secret, any man on earth, that will not be made open in the public. Any man for that matter. So what they think they are doing in the secret, what does God do? He brings it out into the open sooner than later. And they eventually be shamed. It could even be a form of where some of them will run insane. Some of them will begin to misbehave. You have seen people who do rituals after some time, after the thing has backfired, you see some of them running crazy, just stop on the road, begin to take off their clothes and begin to tear the clothes, take off their shoes, and But when they were doing those things in the dark, they thought it was covered. But eventually God brings it out in the open and shame them. So run away from those things, because it will only endure for a while. After some time, it will expire. And when it expires, it will be made open. And what comes with openness? Shame, disgrace, embarrassment. Now, then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of Israel and done, the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery. For they say, the Lord seek us not. The Lord sees, they say the Lord does not see them. The Lord has forsaken the earth. That the Lord is, you see another deception. They will be telling their other bodies that have been sucked in, don't worry, God is not seeing it. That the Lord has forsaken the earth is not. That's, in those in the operations of darkness, their foundation is rooted in lies and deception. So, when the Bible says walk away from all forms of abomination, you are walking away from deceit. You are walking away from lies. So that your life at the end of the day will be preserved. Because when God comes with judgment against such people, I always tell people, it could come in form of a collateral damage, and all those around them also could pay the price for it. Both the innocent around them and the guilty. So the earlier you quickly walk away from it, the better. That's why we always advise some people, when God says don't travel, they say, no, the road is clear, don't travel. God would have seen something and instruct, don't travel. The one that they want to suck his life could also take innocent people in the same vehicle with him or her to the other side. So instructions are to be obeyed. Now the last one, the last two verses I want to read here. He said unto me, turn thee ye again, and thou shalt see greater abomination than they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was towards the north. And behold, there were women weeping for Tammuz. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Witchcraft. 100% witchcraft. And you know, everything witchcraft is 100% anti-God. And God is against them. But the last verse, then said he unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see more. If you read the book of Ezekiel, the whole of chapter 8, you see all kinds of things that God was showing them. But let me give you some succor in the book of Isaiah chapter 3, and I'll read verse 8 and 10 to 14. Because God always has the interest of his people at heart, especially those who obey his commandments. He always finds a way to preserve them, even in the midst of so much confusion, in the midst of so much disorderliness, in the midst of so much disobedience. God always finds a way to preserve his own people. You know, I've given you an example before. Locally, in my place here, several years ago, a plane crashed. Everyone in the plane died except two people. Two people. And when eventually the plane crashed, those people, they found themselves still sitting on their seat. The two. And they were sitting together. Sitting on their seat on the ground. And what did they do after the plane? Everyone else had died, the plane had scattered. Thank God it wasn't on the sea, it was on the ground. And they just unstrapped themselves and they walked away. Talking about, he said, the prayer of a sinner is an abomination unto God. So, when you belong to him, you have a covenant of preservation with God. When everybody is complaining, the Bible says in the book of Job, chapter 22 or 23, there says, when everyone is saying there is casting down, you and I will be saying there is lifting up. When everybody's saying this country is not good, the city is not good, the city is not safe, God will provide security for you. He will provide provisions for you. He will give you enough to sustain you. The only thing you must do in such times is that you must be content. We spoke about that 2 days ago, about godliness with contentment is great gain. So whatever he gives to you, just be content, enough to keep your soul and body intact, healthy, in divine health. He will make provision. For security, he will make sure no evil. In Psalm 91 verse 10, he said, there shall no evil befall you, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling. He will make sure he preserves you, so that even in the night when you go to sleep, you can close your 2 eyes and sleep sound and safe, confirming that no evil, nothing will even knock your door. When evil is passing by, it will pass on the other side, because they would have seen the protection at your gate, at your door. Say, no, you can't go to that house. I remember several years ago, I was living in a place that was a bit lonely, somewhere, where a developing area that was lonely. And at that time, I was with my family in that place. So around 1:30 a.m., I just started hearing some noise under the mango tree that was on the other side of my compound. All kinds of noise, and close about 30 people were there, young men. I know they started fighting themselves. They started fighting 1:30 a.m. in the morning. What did they want to come and do? They wanted to come and rob me. And God set confusion into their midst. They started fighting themselves, they injured themselves, eventually they walked away. That's how God preserves his own people. In the same place, they were robbing 2 people here and there. They robbed this house, they robbed that house, they robbed that house around me. They were even asking, hey, the people in the house, who is that living in that other house there? They said, that is a pastor. I said, okay. They didn't come to God did not allow them to come to my house. I've said to people, when you obey God, you will live in an evil-free zone of life. Evil-free zone of life. I don't know whether you understand, you get my English right. Maybe I didn't speak it right, but I will say it again. There is an evil-free zone of life that God keeps his own people. Hey, you can't touch him. Go. He even drives away flies from you, from perching unnecessarily on you. He drives away sicknesses and diseases away from you. When sickness wants to, sicknesses and diseases, they are spirits. They are spirits. They can be thrown as an arrow for people to have liver problem, cancer, this, and they can do that. They throw arrows. When they throw the arrow, God will be the one that will deflect it back and return it back multiple fold to the sender, preserving your life when you are obedient to him. And the people are wondering, how come they didn't come to your house? They were going there and I didn't have anything except God. I gave an example also some time ago about a young girl that was passing the alleyway. She was alone, passing through the alleyway, dangerous area. There was a predator who was hanging around looking for a girl to rape in that alleyway. So when they saw this girl just passed quietly and went, and he was there. He was looking at the girl. Another girl was passing the same alleyway. She pounced on the girl. 30 minutes after, she pounced on the girl and raped the girl. Eventually, he was apprehended. And they asked him, a girl just passed 30 minutes before this one. Why didn't you get that one and rape that one? He said when the girl was coming, there was a huge figure walking side by side with the girl. And he said he dare not move near that girl. Because if he moved near that girl, he would be suicidal. That huge figure would squeeze him to death. So he stayed away. That's the way God goes with you. That's why God says, in your going out, you shall be blessed, and in your coming in, you shall be blessed. He will protect you. He will keep accidents away from you. I told you before, I was going to church with my family several years ago. Then my children were small that time. And the trailer fully loaded with cement was going to cross over to my side. And fully to death, completely. As it was crossing towards me, the median, there was sand between the two sides of the expressway. The median sand gripped his tires, and he fell down, throwing all this cement. Immediately, seconds after I just passed, all the cement just crossed the expressway, blocking every car behind me. If he had crossed, he would have tried to knock me and my family to death. But God gripped his tires. Instead of killing, he spilled all the cement on the expressway and stopped every other car behind me. I just went. That's how God preserved his own people. In Psalm 121, verse 8, he said, in your going out and coming in, you shall be blessed. He didn't say you will die on the road. So those who stay away, walk away from all forms of abominations we have taught here in the book of Ezekiel, who obey God, who stay holy through obedience, he preserves them. He provides for them. He makes provision for them. Just like you have your baby. You have baby, you have small children. What do? You make sure you make all provisions for them. You provide breakfast, you provide lunch, you provide dinner, you take shower for them, you clean them up, you brush their mouth. That's exactly what God does to his own people. You clean them up, you put on good clothes when you are going out. That's how God showcases his glory over his own people that obey him. Those who don't obey him, he has no allegiance to them. He has no loyalty to them. In short, he doesn't have any business with them because they have decided to go wayward, away from him. Look at let me read verse 8 of the book of Isaiah chapter 3. Verse 8 says, for Jerusalem is ruined, and Israel, their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of, when even you are having some challenges in your local environment, whether your city or your nation or things like that, and there is insecurity challenge, economic challenge, that's what God is talking about here. Verse 9, let me read on. Because God has a plan, even in the midst of confusion, in the midst of storm, he has his plan for his own people, those who are obedient to him. Verse 9 says, the show of their countenance doth witness against them. What the kind of wayward lifestyle they are living is witnessing against them. That's what the scripture is saying here. So what the generality of the people are doing to bring about, or the few people are doing to bring about the distasteful things you are seeing in your local environment, somewhere along the line has a reverberating effect across the landscape. But what does God do? He picks out his own people. They might be feeling some here and there, but he picks them out. He will preserve them. Look at what he says here. Witness against them, and they declared their sins, their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. You see, these people, when they commit all these things, they go about it with brazen audacity. You can't do me anything. We are in power. We are in.
Addendum, kindly press the middle paragraph twice. It will stop for you to read. After reading, press. Once it will continue to the next page and repeat saying till you finish reading. Thanks.
That everything will happen to them for evil. because they have exercised evil on the system. They have sowed evil. Evil will come back to them multiple fold. But for those who belong to God, God brings them out. Hallelujah. They woe unto them, woe unto their soul, for they have